Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much for the nice introduction. To avoid the confusion, and also as a disclaimer, I'm here on behalf of the head of our department, Professor Folish. That's why you see his name on the slides. Just, yeah, don't get confused from this. Today, I'm gonna present over the topic of generative AI when it comes to action, when we wanna work with randomized clinical trials, and the work from Dr. Wang that covered part of the things that I wanted to cover. That's fortunate thing for me because he covered it very well. And but there are something that would complement what he presented, and to just give a let's say starting point. I'm gonna focus on two things here. One is one of our generative models that is, let's say, centered around generating synthetic health data, and the other one is a web-based tool, which we developed alongside this project called NFDI for Health, which is a research data management project in a consortium of partners in Germany and some other German-speaking countries. And with that long introduction, I don't want to bore you how important randomized clinical trials are, because I believe all of you know that how tedious and also expensive they are. But instead, I'm gonna outline some of the challenges that there exist. For example, if we wanna, let's say, have decide on who gets placebo and act as our control group, and how costly it would be, and also some ethical aspects when it comes to providing inclusion and exclusion criteria for such treatments. And there might be ethical issues that who would get the real drug and who would get the placebo, for example, and also questions like how long we should look at and follow up patients after getting, and quantify the risks. And also, last but not least, we all know that the patient data is of highest or most confidentiality, and it is not easy to, let's say, share the data between partners when it comes to consortium project, for example. So with that, having that said, one of the main things that I want to address here is that how generative AI can help with this, and in order to, let's say, go beyond privacy issues that's compared to data sharing, we sort of have alternatively provide synthetic data which can represent the distribution statistics of the real counterparts, and can be useful later on in a downstream task, so to say. And with this, we had, for example, a couple of foundation models, if you like. One is the Vambian, which is based on variational autoencoders and modular Bayesian networks, and another one is the multinodes, which later on I will jump into that one. But through the use of these models, we sort of learn a mathematical a representation of the real data set, and we try to replicate that in a way that this data is not realistic enough, but it's not identifiable from which specific patient they come from, to make it, let's say, summarized. And obviously it has its own applications. I don't want to go deep into that one, but yeah, the application could be providing control arms, also what if scenarios in which that, what if the same patient have got another treatment, what would happen with that, and also providing realistic synthesized patient trajectories. Here is about, this slide is about multinodes. This model is one of those models that I mentioned before. It is multimodal in terms that it all provides, it takes as input both static patient level variables as well as time continuous longitudinal variables. And for the time continuous variables, it also provides implicitly an imputation layer, which is based on recurrent models. And as you see on the top right, we have this model architecture simplified. It uses variational autoencoders, and it augments the latent spaces from both static and longitudinal variables before it's fed to ODE solver, and then both are reconstructed and again combined together. And on the bottom, you see part of the results that shows relevance of this model in, let's say, capturing the trends of the real data set, both for interpolation and extrapolation. Another tool that I want to talk about is this SynDat, synthetic data. It is a web-based project, which, as I mentioned, is provided within the realm of NFDI for Health project. And the idea behind this one is to provide meticulous tools to visually and also quantifically assess the relevance and utility of generative AI models like Vambian model or multi-nodes model that we developed ourselves. And as you see, there are different levels or aspects that can be visualized. For example, we have Jason-Shannon divergence, which quantifies the level which how the real data set distributions are different from the synthetic data that was generated. The other one for which you see the heat map just shows the Pearson correlation coefficients throughout the data. And you could compare this from real and also to synthetic data counterpart. And last but not least, we can see, for example, these violin diagrams that for specific features and variables you could, let's say, compare the distribution throughout the whole data set. Another aspect that we can assess here is that, for example, we took, for example, another example from PPMI datasets for Parkinson disease. It is an open access dataset, as you know. And we, for example, see how counterfactual scenarios could be inspected using synthetic data. And also looking at the one on top right is that whether if we want to let's say, train a downstream classification task. Let it be, for example, treatment planning or something. How it would work if we used combination of real data and synthetic data for the same task, or we just focus on real or synthetic tests. And as you see here, it's quite impressive how this data, synthetic data, can fake and just let the model train and provide a predictive model for us. And also, last but not least, we can see here that it could be also used for extrapolating and forecasting the future based on whatever we observe within the time frame that we have. Another thing that is also available through the use of this web-based tool is that we could also quantify different risk factors for those models. And here are three different risk factors that we cover in this, let's say, web-based tool. And single out risk is the risk that we could identify an individual looking at some attributes from synthetic health data. The other one, linkability, is that if we could identify whether two records would belong to the same person from real data set, just looking at attributes from synthetic data. And last one is that the risk that we could, let's say, infer some unknown data from the real data set, just looking at the, let's say, synthetic health data. And as you see, for example, these are samples from this website, and the lower the risk, obviously, the better the synthetic counterpart of the data. Just to wrap up, these generative AI models can help in from different points of view. For example, for facilitating data sharing, when it comes to sharing confidential patient data, it can let us share the synthetic data, which is harder to identify the patient's demographics from that. And also, for scenarios like synthetic control arms generation, and also using the data to, let's say, enrich the data when it comes to scenarios in which underrepresented groups of people are needed to make unbiased predictions later on, and also for simulating patient trajectories as the time evolves. And just as a final point is that it doesn't mean, when we say that generative AI models are good, it doesn't mean that we don't need the traditional in silico trial methods. And what would be the next things that we are considering for our next steps are how we could combine all the benefits from both worlds. And I will be happy to discuss this with you guys later on. And sorry for, yeah, it took longer than I thought. Sorry.